everybody, it's Rose Cushing, host of Carolina Hoofbeats TV. We're so excited today that Carley Wheelis is going to be joining us to talk about her experience at the Everything Equine Expo Colt starting this past February. Carley's an amazing horsewoman. She has been with me a long time doing shows and trail challenges and clinics, and she's quite amazing. So I think you're going to enjoy getting to know her a little bit. So Carley, I'm really happy to have you on the show today. So thank you for coming, and tell us a little bit about how did you choose your colt at the colt starting?
Thank you for having me. And choosing my colt for the colt starting, I remember like when I first got there walking down the line and kind of like looking at all the horses, you know, as one would do, and standing at each of their pens, and my draw was the only one who kind of picked up her head, looked at me, and the rest of them kind of, you know, kept doing what they were doing. So I walked back over to her after walking down the line of horses. I kind of just stood with her for a second, and she came over, and I remember her bopping me on the nose with her nose, and I was like immediately falling in love with her. And I think like right then and there, I was like, okay, I got to get this horse if I can. And then the fact that, you know, she's small definitely helps because I'm 5'1", and I wanted a horse that I could ground mount and was tiny because I'm tiny. So that definitely helped also. And she was she was a blue roan, just like my draw last year was. So she reminded me of my draw last year, who I had tons of fun with. So I just kind of fell in love with her immediately.
She's a beautiful, beautiful filly. All of Charlie's horses from Lost Creek are fantastic picks, so you can't hardly go wrong. So you got to choose this one when you had your draw. So how did you do round one? What was your idea going into it that you wanted to accomplish?
Going into round one, I already knew just from kind of watching her in her pen and seeing her walk up to people when they went over to say hi to her that she was going to be a more curious horse, and she was going to be more like in your pocket type. And I was right. I went into round one, and we worked on haltering. I got the halter on her. We worked on some leading. She was really great for all of it. Like I said, she was really curious, and she really wants to please you. So in the beginning, you know, we just kind of worked on like a little bit of desensitizing, leading, rubbing all over her, and grooming her, which was all a lot of fun. So yeah.
So for the folks that are out there listening that may not know about the colt starting, Lost Creek Cattle Company brings us 7 horses, fillies or geldings that are from 2 to 3 years old. And these horses live on a big cattle ranch with lots of acres, so they haven't been handled. They've never been haltered or taught to lead. You know, they've probably had their shots done that they needed to have done, but other than that, they come pretty much right out of the pasture ready to go. And so the first process is haltering them. So round one went like you planned. So tell me a little bit of round two. What did you do for round two?
Round two, I worked on more desensitizing her, and I'm pretty sure that's the round that I introduced the saddle to her in. I cannot remember 100% for sure, in all honesty. I think I was up on her in round two, but...
I believe you were too.
Okay, yeah, so then I was up on her in round two, and she was great for that. So I was really happy with her. I had put the Western saddle up on her first, lunched her around in it. I took it off because it did not fit her whatsoever, and I hopped up on her bareback. I attempted ground mounting her, but I couldn't, so I used a bucket.
Right.
She stood perfectly still for it. She was just a doll. And in that round, we also worked on moving her feet around the round pen and getting her walking over tarps and some other fun obstacles, and getting her, you know, just willing to work.
Right. And again, go ahead.
Oh, I said, I'm pretty sure that's the round I covered her in glitter with, too.
I think so, too. You made her mighty pretty.
Yes.
For the folks out there watching, in our colt starting, the colt starters have 5 rounds that are an hour each, one in the morning, one in the afternoon. before they do their finale. And the finale is an obstacle challenge. So, you know, they start out haltering them and ground training them, get the saddle on them and ride them. And she didn't buck or anything, did she?
No, she was such a doll. She just, I hopped up her in round 2, just kind of sitting on her, and we started, you know, doing a little bit of steering, just kind of walking in a tight circle, and she was perfect for that too. She was really, really willing throughout the whole competition.
So round 3 comes along, and what did you do for round 3, and what was your plan?
Round 3, we had our first walk, trot, and canter. I packed her up English, and I was the only English rider in the competition from what I remember. When she looked mighty cute English, and my English saddle fit her perfectly. My grounds person came in and helped me by moving her feet around on the ground because she was a little sticky in the beginning and wasn't super willing to move forward because she is more on like the laid back side. And we also worked a lot on steering, stopping, and introducing the back up to her.
So tell us a little bit about your grounds person.
My grounds person is the son of Jim Thomas, who I had been interning with, and Chapin was more than nice enough to help me out as my grounds person for this competition. We had actually never met each other before that competition morning, so I was, in all honesty, a little nervous about going in there with someone I had never met, but we ended up working really well together, and he helped me tremendously with starting my draw under saddle throughout the competition.
Chapin's an amazing horseman in his own right. He's also active duty military, so you know, he's not always home, but we were very blessed to have him that weekend for sure. So that was Saturday morning's round. So now you're up to round 4, and you guys can you come out of the round pen in round 4? I can't remember.
I'm pretty sure it was round 5 that we were able to come out of the round pen.
Okay, alrighty.
I can't remember 100% for sure.
Tell me about round 4.
Round 4, I'm pretty sure is when we started riding her over obstacles, and because in the previous round, I'm pretty sure I wasn't riding her over obstacles yet, and I'm pretty sure in round 4 was when I introduced them under saddle, and then we worked on getting a softer back up, a softer left and right turn, and started some flexing with her. I also introduced, I'm pretty sure a spray bottle to her in that round too, I want to say.
And she took everything like a champ?
She did. She was perfect throughout the whole thing. She stood there, you know, for me to braid her mane, for me to brush on her whole body, picking up her feet, spraying her with a hairspray can when I glitterified her. She looks beautiful in glitter, by the way.
She does.
She stood there for me to pick out her feet also, so I didn't just pick them up. I was picking them out with a hoof pick, brushing her down. I brushed her down in every round before I saddled her up. She stood perfectly to be saddled, never moved around or anything. I was able to brush her mane, brush her forelocks, and stuff. I never did bridle her up throughout the competition. I rode her the whole time in a halter because when I start colts, I prefer starting them in a halter. So, yeah, she was perfect, though. She was a really soft little mare and very, very, very willing.
It sounds like it. And you guys kind of just clicked instantly together, so that's always a benefit as well. For
sure.
I'm sorry?
Oh, for sure. We definitely clicked.
And for the folks watching, when we do the colt starting, we have 6 competitors total, and we have 3 rings that the horses are in, and 3 people at the time compete, each one his own ring. So when Carley is working with this filly, there's a lot going on beside her, not to mention, you know, a building full of people and kids and folks walking around and all kinds of other noises and things. So these are all new things for these horses to get used to. So round 5 is Sunday morning. So tell us a little bit about round 5. What did you do?
Round 5 was the round that I'm pretty sure we left the round pen for the first time. Heading out of the round pen, she just naturally wanted to be back towards the other horses, which was super understandable. So we worked a lot on, working her around her friends and then going and resting on the opposite side of the arena and making that far side of the arena really pleasant. She also was looking at the cows in the corner and was loving them. She really wanted to be near the cows for some odd reason, which was super cute. We got a lot trot canter out in the arena, which was great, and I was super happy getting that from her.
And did you put her over any of your obstacles out in round 5 out in the big arena?
We were not allowed to have our obstacles out in the arena, so what we would do was go back into the round pen to work the obstacles, and then come back out and then just ride around the arena. And she was riding out in the arena with other horses out there too. So I feel like that's something to mention too.
Yeah, that's a big accomplishment for sure. So then that's Sunday morning. So tell us about the finale, Sunday afternoon. I guess you guys all draw to see who goes first. So how did you wind up, what order did you go in?
I don't remember, honestly. I do not remember which order draw it was to go.
That's okay. You weren't first though, right?
No.
Okay. Because I was going to say that, when you're waiting for your turn to go and you're watching everybody else compete, that's stressful. So how do you handle that pressure, Carley? Because you are so calm and so soft and easy and gentle with your horse.
In all honesty, I don't see it as a competition. I see it as a chance to give the horse that I have drawn the best start that I personally possibly can. And that's my goal throughout this whole competition is, with whatever horse I'm starting, is to give that horse the best possible start for the rest of its career, for the rest of its life, and for whatever owner that horse may have down the road to have a well-started horse. So going into the competition, my only goal in mind was to do the best by this mare, by this horse I had drawn. And in the competition, I do really feel that I gave this horse the best that I could have given her. And I was beyond thrilled with how she did throughout the competition.
Now, how old are you?
I'm 19.
That's what I couldn't remember if you had turned 20 yet. Carley was the youngest person in our competition. And our competition has a lot of stiff competition. And she goes up against seasoned trainers. One of our competitors, TJ Cliburn, he started over 600 colts in his lifetime. So, if she's really mentally tough, and when you do this kind of competition, it's a lot different than starting a horse in your backyard.
Oh, for sure. Starting your horse in your backyard without having any eyes on you is so much less stressful. I think the most stressful thing about the competition is, at least for me, knowing you have to talk in front of people. Because personally, I have a really hard time forming the words when I'm working with a horse because I'm so focused on what I am doing that it's hard for me to express out loud what I'm doing and what I'm feeling because my brain is only focused on one thing. So for me, going into it, my biggest nerve was being able to talk, but I do feel like I talked more than I did last year, for sure. Because I think last year I said maybe 3 words, and I think this year I got in a whole maybe like 10 sentences.
So is this only your second competition?
Yes, this is only my second colt setting competition.
That's what I was thinking. Now, Carley competed in our all-ladies competition at Lake Waccamaw in 2021 and came in second, and she only missed winning by about 4 or 5 points. She's really, really talented trainer without any question at all. And I would say that any horse trained by Carley has a big leg up because she's very soft-spoken, she's very easy, she's very gentle. She doesn't put up with any bull from them, but she's also very kind and she reads them really fast. So, you do an amazing job. If you didn't, I wouldn't let you compete because, but you can hold your own with anybody out there.
Thank you.
So tell us about the finale and how did all that go?
So for the finale, I packed her up inside of the round pen, and I walked her out. We took a quick, short little ride around the arena, and then immediately through the obstacles. which, in my opinion, was something I had wished I had not done. I do wish I had taken her around the arena just a little bit longer. But I was feeling the pressure of the timing and stuff. So for me, at least, being underneath a timer is a little stressful. But she did well. She did really well. She was a little nervous with a couple of the obstacles, but she tried her heart out, and she thoroughly impressed me. And then for, like, our freestyle part of it, we got to do some dancing. Because, well, I don't mind dancing in front of people.
Yeah.
No, I rode her around bareback, and then we had demonstrated her standing still for the aerosol can of hairspray, and then just kind of having fun with her. I was able to say a couple words to the audience, which I think was the most I'd spoken at once the whole competition. And I just went out there, and I thoroughly enjoyed myself, and I had given them a playlist of my songs, so, you know, I kind of have my songs in the back of my head also while I was doing it, which really definitely helped to take, like, some of the nerves out of me.
Right.
Person who works really, really well the music. And then it gave me a song to dance to when I was ready to do my freestyle.
Very, very nice. And your freestyle was beautiful. And you guys do the freestyle for extra points, right?
Yeah.
The mandatory is to do the trail obstacle challenge, and if you have time left over, you know, to do the freestyle, if I'm remembering correctly.
Yes.
So, how did you wind up placing?
Fifth.
Yep, I think you were fifth.
I don't remember how many people were in there, honestly.
Yeah. There were six competitors, and you came in fifth.
Yeah, so it was fifth, then, yeah. I couldn't remember.
And you know, these horses are for sale, and all during the expo, people are talking to Charlie about them and inquiring about pricing and putting offers in. So tell us a little bit about what happened after it was over.
So halfway through, I knew I was falling in love with this horse. It was just, you know, I kept telling myself, I'm not in a place to take on another horse. I don't need her. She's going to make a great horse for someone else. But at the end of that competition, when I was standing there in the finale, my whole heart was just screaming, bring her home. And that's what I did. I bought that horse. And I love her. Even after the competition, she has proven to be a great horse. She's starting to travel some with me. While she does not have a whole bunch of rides yet because I've lost a whole bunch of extra time in my day, but she is fantastic, and she is the best horse to have around the barn.
So what do you foresee doing with her in the future?
My hope for Penelope, which is what I ended up naming her, is for her to really just be another trick horse and liberty horse with me. So she will be traveling around and helping me teach clinics and doing demos. And then I would love to see her have a little career in the higher jumpers. And then, you know, if she doesn't like hunters, maybe we can attempt reining, because my little English self thinks reining would be a ton of fun, and she could definitely do it.
She absolutely can. They're bred to be good all-around performance horses wherever you point them. So.
Oh, for sure.
So, what is on your bucket list now going forward? Well, first of all, tell us about your Mustang Tip Challenge, because that's really cool.
So I am hosting the 2022 North Carolina Tip Challenge, and that will be in Lincolnton, North Carolina, July 29th to the 31st. And we are welcoming spectators on the 30th and 31st of July. So this competition has a youth and adult division. The competitors got all their horses the first weekend of April. They were completely wild Mustangs, and they were given approximately 100 days to gentle and train these horses, and they will all be competing against each other in Lincolnton.
Now tell us a little bit about the difference between the youth class and the adult class, because if I'm not mistaken, youth class is how I met you.
Yeah, so this is a tip challenge and not the makeover. So for tip challenges, both youth and adult are in hand, and they will be competing on the exact same pattern. But for the Extreme Mustang makeovers, youth competitions are in hand, and the adult competitions are under saddle.
I didn't realize the tip challenge didn't ride.
Yeah, so because the tip challenges are put on by tip trainers, we just do in hand only for the competition, and the adult and youth have the exact same patterns. Some of the tip challenges combine the youth and adult, like the Equine Affairs challenge did, but my tip challenge has two separate adult and youth competition divisions.
Right. Now, one more question. How do people adopt a wild Mustang? Because I know you're very well spoken in this area.
If you are interested in adopting a Bureau of Land Management Mustang, so BLM Mustang, there are a couple ways you can go about it. You can adopt one of these Mustangs from an Extreme Mustang makeover, which you would have to apply to become a bidder for one of the adult horses, which are already very well started. And you would have to actively bid against other bidders to win that horse. You could always adopt through a youth Extreme Mustang makeover trainer, and you'd be entering a private adoption with them, but you would still be going through the reassignment process with the Bureau of Land Management, and adopt through a tip trainer. So tip horses meet basic gentling requirements such as leading, loading, and picking up all 4 feet. And I personally am a tip trainer in Hillsborough, North Carolina. I think there are a few other tip trainers here in North Carolina. I'm just not sure of who they are. Or you can adopt a completely wild Mustang, and there is a storefront in Pikeville, Tennessee, run by Rebecca Bowman, where you can go pick one up, and there will be a storefront in North Carolina coming soon, run by someone in Siler City. I'm pretty sure this is one of the final, or you can also do through the internet adoption, which is where you would bid online against other bidders for a wild Mustang, or you can adopt through a tip challenge. So tip challenge horses, some of the competitors may be looking for an adopter. So as the North Carolina Tip Challenge, we will be publicizing which horses will be available for adoption at the Tip Challenge closer to the time of it. And that way, future adopters can see which horses are available. And you can adopt privately either one of the adult or youth horses. And again, for any of these horses, you would be entering into a BLM contract and having to apply through the Bureau of Land Management for one of these Mustangs.
Now, tell us a little bit about your business. I mean, because I know you've grown into 2 or 3 different enterprises that you're doing. So tell the audience a little bit about you, because you're pretty amazing.
Oh, thank you. So I do lessons here in Hillsborough, North Carolina, and I have a great group of kids out here that I have the opportunity to teach. I also travel doing trick training in Liberty clinics and performing at horse expos such as yours,
Right.
With my Liberty horses. And then in addition to that, I also have a 501c3, so a nonprofit organization that works with underprivileged children and allowing them to have an opportunity in the horse world. So a lot of what I do is working with these underprivileged kids and giving them the opportunity to enter the horse world and learn life skills and life lessons through horses, which is a great opportunity for these kids because, it gives them somewhere safe to go after school. It gives them somewhere safe to go on the weekends. It allows their parents to not have the stress of childcare because, they're being taken care of at my facilities throughout the day, and they just get to experience horses. They get to horse show at no cost to them. So, yeah.
And how can people find out about your 501c3 if they want to make donations, and what kind of stuff do you need? Can you tell me a little bit?
Yes. So my 501c3 is called Help Keep Hope, and it also has a branch of it that helps out the Ronald McDonald House, making donations there. So when you access the website, it's going to immediately be asking for Ronald McDonald House donations. But if you're interested in donating to the horse program, you are more than welcome to contact me through the email on the site, or you're welcome to find me on Facebook at Carley Wheelis and reach out to me there and make donations if you are interested.
Do you still need horse tack and horse attire and stuff for these kids? Or are you fixed with all that now?
We are always in need of more saddles, saddle pads, and riding clothing. These kids, majority of them do not have access to the ability to be buying riding clothes and stuff, so we provide that for them. And if you have, old riding clothing or old showing clothing, you are more than welcome to make a donation, which is tax deductible.
Very, very nice. So, going forward in the rest of this year, I know that you're going to be at my expo in October, but what else you got going on?
Right now, I am planning on teaching a few clinics throughout the summer. I am planning on making another trip out west soon, and then hosting North Carolina Tip Challenge. And then I'm also doing tip courses like crazy currently.
Oh, that's really awesome. So, anything else you want to let the viewers know about how to reach you and how to contact you in case they would like you to train one of their horses?
You can find me on Instagram at bw.equines. You're welcome to reach out to me there. Or you can find my Facebook page. My name's Carley Wheelis. If you plug that in, I'm pretty sure I pop up for you on Facebook. My profile has a picture of me with a horse. I mean, big surprise there, right?
Yeah.
Horse photo. You're welcome to private message me on Facebook. Or if you look up CW Horsemanship as like a URL, my website will pop up, and you are more than welcome to contact me through my website also.
Thank you so much for being on the show today, Carley, and thank you guys for listening. Our souls wander in similar places. Even though we may not know each other, we touch the same wind, we walk under the same sky, and our hearts wander in the same dreams. We are one, women just like you and me. Our show explores women in the horse industry as they share their dreams, challenges, successes. What drives these women? Well, let's find out.